Would you be interested? I said, call up Chad right now and get a meeting for me. I have to be in this movie.
Why do you love John Wick so much?
When I first saw, John Wick 1, what I loved was the world building, the world that was created. I was interested, I was intrigued, and what were these undercover assassins and these markers and this fealty and this, consequences for your action, and where was this world and who are these people? It was fascinating. But I also loved that the action was so real. It was real live action in the time of CG and, comic book movies. So much of it, wasn't real. And I had been a part of those movies where I did some of the action, but a lot of it was done with a computer for me. But when I saw John Wick and I saw what Keanu and the other performers, what they were doing, I thought, wow, I think he's really doing that. And then I looked at some behind the scenes footage and I saw all the training he went through and I realized, oh, he's really doing this. How amazing. I had so much respect for him and the whole franchise. So when it came to 3, I wanted to do that.
And you hear the bones cracking. It's really every time.
Breaking.
Arm
And bones
breaking.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, it's a little spoiler alert, but I'm just going to go there. Your battle scene, your fight scene. Do you know how many men you killed in that scene?
I do not. I'm sure Chad does.
I mean, I tried to keep count last night because I've tried to keep count in the other movies and I never can.
Right.
So I got up to Casablanca. I had about 15 guys had been killed. But as soon as you guys went, it was just literally, I couldn't keep track.
I know. Me either.
And you not only kill them, but you make sure to shoot them in the head, not once, but twice. As I'm told, that's called a double tap.
Yeah, it's called a double tap.
Now, why?
Why?
I'm like, you're point blank right on his head. You have to do it again?
It's the John Wick way.
How much fun is it? It sounds weird, but killing these guys. I mean, it must be fun. Like, you just take that gun and it's just the power.
Well, it's not real. And we're all aware that it's not real. I don't think I could ever really shoot anybody. Which is why I don't have a gun, because they say don't have a gun if you're not going to use it. and I wouldn't use it. So it's make-believe.
Yeah.
It's not real.
And sort of what you were saying before, the fight sequences and the stunts are real, but they're so over the top.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you feel like they're real, but it's like, obviously Keanu Reeves, this dude was not going to be able to survive everything that's happened to the poor thing.
Yeah. And it's not real. It's this surreal, heightened reality, this fantasy world that Chad's created. And so, the killing is not real, but all of the martial arts, is strung together like a beautiful ballet, like a dance. And like when you're watching a great performance on stage of dancers, it's real, but it's not real. They're creating a world that's also not real for the audience, but the moves that they're performing are real. That's kind of how we look at as performers in John Wick in this action movie.
And when you're having these fight scenes, not your fight scene in particular, but when they were fighting, Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
None of the commuters are aware of what's going on.
I know. And that's sort of Chad will tell you about that, an homage to one of his favorite filmmakers, where those are the little subtleties that kind of let you know we're not in the real world.
And then I'm like, is this another world that's happening while our world is happening?
It's a good question, right?
It is.
I think we should explore that in John Wick 4.
So John Wick 4, let's talk about John Wick 4, because Sophia has to come back.
Oh, baby. Sophia would have to come back, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, she's got a story to tell. There's some history between she and Keanu. Like something has gone down.
So are you signed for number 4?
I'm not signed, but I would sign. I think we have to get through 3. And if the audience, if they love this like we all love it, and there's demand for 4, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
And those dogs. Let's talk about those German Shepherds.
Yeah.
Are they the sweetest things?
Yes and no.
Were you scared of them?
No.
No.
I was never scared of them. I met them. I trained with them for about 6 months, and I met them when they were little, like they're still puppies when I met them. So I kind of grew with them a little bit. They got to know me. I got to know them, and they really revered me as one of their trainers, like the trainer. They just thought I was a trainer. But I had great respect for them because I saw the power, I saw what they could do, and I learned about the Belgian Malinois and what they're built to do. They're, built to be attack dogs. They work with, special forces, special services, and they're built to work. And when these dogs had to sit around and do nothing, that's when it was hard for them. They don't like to sit there and, scratch their tummy. They really want to work. They want to do something very active.
Did you take them home with you afterwards? I mean, you
No.
brought them up as little puppies. Don't
No,
you miss them?
my Labradoodles might be a little jealous. I have 2 Australian
scared.
Labradoodles. No, you know what? Here's a funny thing. When I was learning all of my dog training on John Wick, I took those same principles and applied them to my doodles. So I have attack doodles now. I do.
Do you put a harness on them and put guns under them?
No, no. But I do have 2 doodles
Attack
that can
doodles.
protect me.
Doodles.
Really, doodles. They got lab in there.
I'm sorry, but if
No.
someone's coming after you
No.
and you tell a doodle to go attack
No.
him, that person's going to laugh.
Okay, you can come to my house and try to attack me, and your ass won't be laughing when you leave. Okay?
It'd be embarrassing.
Your
wouldn't
ass
it?
is going to be bit up, and you might be without your balls.
Holly Barry just talked about my balls.
Well, you see in the movie, my
I
dogs
love
just
them.
go for crotch shots.
No, the whole movie goes for crotch shots. You went for
Well,
crotch shots.
yeah.
Keanu went for crotch shots, which made me realize, like, in every fight sequence, why don't people go for the men's balls more? Because that's how you really take them down.
It's the real place you go, because Wick World is real in that sense. Like, what would you really go for on a man? I mean, I can't think of a weaker spot. Can you?
This is just weird.
Feel a little pain down there, do you, right now?
Yeah, I'm just really uncomfortable. My legs are crossed, and I don't know what to do with myself right now. Do you want your own big action movie, something like this? Like Sophia Wick?
If the audiences ask for that, if that's something they think would be interesting to see, I mean, who wouldn't? For sure. I loved getting into the skin of this character and challenging myself the way this character forced me to challenge myself. So, of course.
And now you're going to be directing.
I am. Yeah.
Now let's start from John Wick to Bruised.
I know.
Tell us what Bruised is about.
First and foremost, it's a love story between a mother and a son. But it's also a movie about a female MMA fighter. And it's about a woman at a stage in her life where she is needing desperately a second chance in life, or a last chance, really, in life. And it's got heart, it's got levity, it's got action. Chad is going to be my second unit director, my stunt coordinator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how lucky am I?
That's pretty amazing.
Right? It's amazing.
Now, are you starring as the MMA fighter?
I am.
So what made this is the movie that you decided, I'm going to make my directorial debut?
I didn't really set out to direct it. I set out to act in it. I read the script and I loved it. And it was written at that time for a 22-year-old white woman, and which obviously can't be me. But I was able to convince the producers that it should be me, and why it would be more relevant in the times in which we're living if it were me. And I talked about all the elements of the filmmaking, what I saw in my head, and they bought it. They thought, wow, makes sense. So I set out to find a director, and I met with lots of directors that I respect, some young, some old, new, been here a while. And throughout the process, what I realized was that nobody really saw the story that I saw in my head, that I kept talking to the producers about, that they loved. So finally, we just sat down one day and they said, why don't you do it? And I thought, I can't direct. This is a big acting role for me. I don't think I should be directing as well. And they gave me so much confidence and helped me realize that, but nobody understands it like you. It's storytelling, and we definitely feel confident that you've got the story. And so I put that hat on for a week or so, and I thought about how that felt. And I realized after 25 years in the business, there is a lot I know about filmmaking. And I've never been the kind of actress that just goes to work, stays in my trailer, and says, call me when you're ready. Right. I've always been out, curious, in the world, with the crew, learning. And I thought, if I can surround myself with the best of the best, the Chads, a great DP, a great production designer, I think, yeah. Yeah, I think it's time.
So how much training are you doing to play an MMA fighter?
Well, my training just rolled over from
was
John
gonna
Wick. I
say.
never left training. I've been in training for a year now. And so now the focus of my training is a little different. I don't have to worry about firearms and gun fu and some of the things I do for John Wick. It's now more, Muay Thai, kickboxing, judo, wrestling.
And you're an MMA fan?
I am. Yeah, I am.
Before the movies.
Before the movie. For probably about the last 5 years, as MMA for women has started to emerge, I've always seen it as, it's hard to think about women punching each other. It's not in our DNA. We're not wired that way, really. But when I see women fight, one, I feel empowered to see women, these badass women like handling it. And I also love that when I see women fight, we're much more emotional when we fight. And so I always love their fights. For that reason, they're more exciting to me. I have a sense of feeling like anything can happen with a woman because we come from that emotional place.
I love what you just said is it was a 20-something-year-old white woman, but you were able to say, you know what? A not 20-something-year-old white woman should be playing this role. Has that changed? Do you think you would have been able to do something like that back 25 years ago when you started, saying, hey, you see that for a white woman? I think it's for me.
I couldn't even I was just the token when I first started. I was on a lovely television show where I was just I would start the scenes, hello, everybody, and I would end them, come on, let's go. Like, that was my part. And at the time, I was happy to be there because there weren't places. No, it was a show called Living Dolls.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
At the time, though, as odd as this sounds coming out of my mouth right now, I was kind of happy to be there because women of color weren't really working. So to be sitting here now, realizing that, I was able to create this opportunity for myself lets me know for sure, it's a new day.
But an African American woman still hasn't won a Best Actress Oscar since you.
I know. That's
Why?
Heartbreaking. If I had that answer, I would do something about it. I don't know. I don't know. And it's not because African American women aren't turning out performances that are worthy. That's for sure. I'm not alone in that. So I don't really know.
And you're working with one of my favorites, Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
Now talk about times have changed.
Times have changed, right?
Black,
yes,
butch,
I know.
lesbian. It's amazing.
Isn't it great?
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I sit there as a little gay. I think of myself as a little gay boy. Like nothing like that appeared.
Yeah, nothing. And if it appeared, it wasn't empowered like she is.
Boomerang. When are we going to see BAPS? The television
But oh my
series?
God, do you know? So many people have been asking me that. I'm like,
my friend texted me. He's like, "You have to ask her about BAPS. I want more BAPS."
oh, I know. I love that movie too.
Would you want to do a reboot? See it come back?
No, not me. I wasn't so sure about a Boomerang reboot,
Right.
honestly. I mean, Lena came to me and we talked about it, and my first response was, I don't know about that. And I said, if we can re-envision it in a new way, and it was very much about, for me, not having the old, I'm like, nobody wants to see us come trotting in there. Like, that moment has passed. That story is no longer relevant. But if we could frame it with a story that's relevant today and make it make sense, then yeah, let's do it. So this other story emerged. The same thing would be true for BAPS, but I just don't think that story would fly today. I don't know how that could be reinvented really and make it make sense.
So superheroes, you were part of the first. Started this
I was.
whole X-Men, man. And
I was.
now we have Avengers that's making between 310 million or 340 million opening weekend.
They call that a bajillion dollars. That's what they call it.
Would you ever want to enter that world again?
Never say never. Who wouldn't want to enter a world that makes, a bajillion dollars and obviously has so many fans? I mean, I'd be stupid to say no.
Right.
It just feels like right now I'm on a little bit of a different path that I'm really happy to be on.
Because
you
you're
know.
doing real fighting.
In the- in
You're
the-
not
in the-
doing CGI fighting.
I know the realness of it is what I'm really, and nothing against the other. I mean, those words have been good to me. It's just where I'm at right now and what my message is all about. And being of a certain age, it's about dealing with ageism, racism, defying all the rules, and telling people none of that matters. You can do exactly what you want to do. You can define who you are, and art, that number that gets tagged to us the day we're born, really has very little to do with who we actually are and what our capabilities are.
And then 2 last questions I ask everyone. When was the last time you cried watching a movie?
Oh, I put on movies just to cry.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, because you know what? I think this kept me healthy. I really do. I think sometimes getting out your pain or what your angst is really healthy to get it out. So sometimes I put on Kramer versus Kramer or The Notebook or Bridges of Madison County. Oh, that really gets my cry on. And I just let it rip.
Yeah.
And I probably put on Bridges maybe 2 weeks ago. I was looking at it as a director, thinking of a certain part of my movie, so I was doing a little bit of research, and then all of a sudden, it sucked me in. She's in that car holding onto that handle, and Clint's in the rain, looking like a wet puppy, and I'm like, go, go, and then she starts the voiceover, and then the music starts, and then I'm just like, I'm a mess. And I love it. I just love it.
And what's the one movie you can watch over and over again and it never gets old?
I have so many. I'm going to say Terms of Endearment. But I have about 20 I could rattle off.
What?
But I would stick with Terms of Endearment.
She eats her medicine.
I know. And some of my favorite performers are in that movie, which is probably why. Women that inspired my career, that I wildly respect, that I know, that I love. And so that makes me feel really good when I see these. And I always cry. Yeah, I cry.
On that note, thank you, Allie.
Thank you very much.
This was awesome. Feel
Thank
better.
you. Thank you.